Oh, all right. Looks like we're live. I probably should have used this first, actually. I need a little bit more time, actually. So, still not enough. Okay. Still not enough time, but there's no one in the chat, and there's no way in hell anyone's watching the VOD, so. No, no reason to be worried. No reason to be concerned with anything, is there? None at all. Indubitably.
Just think of me as your guardian devil.
I love having those little stupid clips in the background. So howdy everyone, I'm the Shadow of the Hawk, and welcome back to my channel. I got no clue if the audio's good. I got no clue if it's fine right here. I don't know if this is ear rape. It's been a while since I've done this little solo streaming thing, and today I'm going to be talking about, well, as you can tell by the title, Knit makes nuts, and why orcs and elves are not the same. So, I'm doing a little bit of thievery. I'm doing a little bit of thieving. Thieving? Thoofing? Thivin? Thivin. Thivin feels appropriately silly. I'm doing a little bit of thiving. Yes. Mash. From a certain channel by the name of Arch. Arch has recently, and by recently I mean today, released a video talking about a little thing, just a silly little guy, just a silly little guy. That is a terrifying face to have our little Norwegian on. There, that's a little bit more appropriate. Within this video, he disputes some claims about D&D, namely inherent white supremacy, that the creator was a racist, that there is no moral difference between the killing of goblins and the killing of Native American children, and I would just like to kindly and firmly say, I'm with Arch on this. Gnits do indeed make gnats. Gnats? Lice. Lice. It's lice. It's not gnats. It's lice. Gnits make lice. Fucking hell, I am a retard. But he doesn't really go into the details of that, more of just mocking the general idea. But I'm going to go into the whole nits make lice angle and why elves and orcs are not the same. Because as we all know, there's been a recent push by a certain questionably desired, undesired. I want to use certain terminology that will probably get this stream flagged, making me come off like a supremacist, English, a supremacist of some kind. But there are some people, predominantly in the D&D community, who will look at here. We'll look at orcs. Now, hold on. Let's Google. Let's Google what an orc looks like. D&D orc. They will look at something like an orc. Here, let's use this picture. This is just a solid, good around, like general picture of what an orc would be, no matter the setting. We will have people who will say that this creature right here, this abominable monster, is representative of certain real-world ethnic groups. I personally don't see it. I see a savage, feral, unrestrained monster that wants to destroy civilization. And I just realized I did something stupid. I forgot to, because this is meant to be an open panel, I'm just going to post that there. And on my smart box, I'm going to well, pin it so people in the chat could join, because the chat is chat and chats are chats, and I like chat. Chat is chat. Someone hopped in and liked. I don't know who that is. Why are you not opening on my phone? Please stop being retarded. Open on my phone. Um, but the general concept, the general point of this is I would like to just have a okay, why are you not there we go. It opened on my phone. Okay, now I can pin the comment. Now I can leave a pinned comment, pin message. Message is pinned. People can now join the panel. Ooh, excitement, exciting. Mesh. So this idea of the inherent evil of races. Well, actually, first of all, let's not even touch on the inherent evil of races in fictional settings. Should I even use race? Arch raised the quandary in one of his videos about how we don't really have a good word for what would be the distinction between an elf and a human. Like we know race is a distinction between blacks and whites because hey, you're different from there's just a noticeable difference there. There's a cosmetic difference. But then there's also not merely a cosmetic difference, but also a fundamentally physiological and psychological difference between, say, a human and an elf. To the point, but we are also capable of breeding with elves. Venus. I don't, I prefer pussy. Howdy, Gunsmoke. How you doing, man? Oh, fucking hell. In any event, so first of all, we need to establish are the different populations, stratas, tired. Tired. Yes, tired is tired. That is a thing to be, Gunsmoke. That is indubitably a thing to be. But do not worry, little old Gunsmoke. Have no fear.
Just think of me as your guardian devil.
I'm gonna get mileage out of that. That's not even my clip. That's one of my players' nat 20s for D&D. It didn't get used at all because he didn't roll any nat 20s, but I'm using it. I've used it twice on this stream. Also, Gunsmoke, if you want to hop on panel, you don't have to, but the link is up there. You just hop on and crash the panel. But so, fundamentally, elves, orcs, dwarves, humans, gnomes, halflings, all of these different things would have fundamentally different lines of processing things. In the same vein that okay, think about this, right? They are different enough from us to have fundamentally different traits. Like elves are lithe and agile and long-lived. Dwarves are stout, have an inherent ability to work stone and metal. Humans are a viral infection. Orcs are bigger, stronger, and prone to genocide. Also, they're not very good at making beautiful things, but very, very good at making clever things. There's a noticeable distinction and difference of substantial degree. More so than the differences between, say, a German Shepherd and a Malinois. The differences between these different kinds. Let's go with kinds. Kinds feels appropriately gender neutral for the terminology to be used. Kinds, yes, Kindes. You know what? We're slipping a silent e in there. Kindes. Kinds. The e is silent. Let's also toss a q in there, just randomly. There's a q in there, an upside down q, silent as well. Kinds. Now, these kinds, they are different enough from each other to warrant, the label of species, but then some of them can breed. I mean, that's what a half orc is, that's what a half elf is, that's what a midget is. Wait, what do you mean midgets are just a mutated human form? The Witcher lied to me. The show The Witcher lied to me because it told me that all dwarves were just dwarves, not humans suffering from dwarfism. Are we getting bigoted? A little bit. But in any event, yes, you can delineate the differences between orcs and elves and goblins and orcs and dwarves for reasons depending on the setting. In the case of something like D&D, the different gods made things in their image the way they wanted them to make them. The humans resemble the human gods. The elves resemble the elven gods. The dwarves resemble the dwarven gods. The orcs represent the orcish god, etc., etc., etc. And then these different races are imbued with characteristics that these deities deem to be good. Which is why orcs, which come from a deity of incredibly violent nature, are predisposed to being violent savages. Um, then you get races like goblins, hobgoblins, and bugbears, which we don't really know what gods made them because those gods got murked by Maglubiet. Maglubiet killed their gods and enslaved them, tied little leashes around their throats with little choke chains. We use them like on a rowdy dog, just yank it back in a very controlled fashion. Yes, every single goblinoid has. I'm fucked. I'm fucked in the head. Um, but so they were enslaved by a deity through magical means and are predisposed now to doing evil in the name of that god because that's what that god says to do. And well, you don't tell God no because God will smite your family and turn your city into salt. So that so now that we have like, okay, well, this is one of the reasons why factions or kinds can be different, then you've also got the evolutionary angle. Using this book series right here, The Witcher, elves are from a fundamentally different evolutionary pathway to humans. They are predominantly herbivores based off their teeth. They are more prone to application of magic. They're longer lived, etc. Like elves are a vastly different kind of thing to human due to evolutionary pathways, not necessarily the gods making them that way. And then if you look at something like Warhammer, you kind of go back to the whole gods made things for specific reasons angle of things. And then if you go, well, that's really the like I really only need those for these guys. I'm just gonna put that back right there. I would make a joke about that book right there. I would make a very fucked joke about that book right there, but I like my channel. It's a good channel. I put a little bit of work into it, a little bit of time into it. Gunsmoke's a good old Southern boy from Pennsylvania. He'll be able to pick up on the joke I'm implying about our favorite autist. But in any event, there are a lot of reasons why these things are going to be fundamentally different from each other. And when you have these kinds of differences, you cannot simply use human cultures or human races as the basis for the delineation. You must use something a bit more extreme. Lions and gazelles, wolves and rabbits, bears and orcas. These are the delineations you will have to use. And fundamentally, a gazelle, a lion, an orca, a wolf, and a dog are going to are going to have fundamentally very different outlooks on the world and various and completely antithetical methods of interacting with the world. For instance, a lion consumes meat. It cannot consume vegetable. It must eat meat. It must eat other living things. A gazelle can only eat vegetable, and a gazelle, presumably, and they run away. They don't really understand why violence would be the approach you would take. So a lion consuming a gazelle, that's the lion doing its baseline function. It is simply doing what it needs to do, whereas the gazelle is, well, getting eaten. To the gazelles, that's bad. To the gazelles, that's evil. To the gazelles, that's not the way things should be. Why the fuck is everything strobing? Now, if the gazelles were to have a god, odds are the god would say that the slaughter of living things is bad because that is antithetical to the nature of the herbivore. And for the lions, they would say that the strength of the predator is proof of their divine right to rule, and that is why they must enact a Lebensraum, and I'm going Nazi. Um, Never go full Nazi. Never go full retard. What you do instead is go full Abraham. Go full Abrams, boys. Never go full Nazi. That's like going full retard. In any event, now that we understand that, hey, these different things are going to have different perspectives on life, perspectives on how to interact with the world, and then you also toss in, developmental patterns. Like if you're from a hinterland region, you're going to have a more barbarousy style of interacting with the world. If you're from a more prosperous temperate zone, you're going to be more of a farmy type. And if you're from the steppes, you're going to throat sing and use bows and arrows because that's based. In any event, Gnits makes lice. See, now this is tying back to the whole, well, what is morality within a world like this? When you have so many different races and so many different gods and moralities and religions that are all different, definitively real. I don't know where the hell Prul came from. When you have these definitively real things. And an orc could sit down. If it was in the mood to sit down, it could sit down and go, okay, here is the orc. Here is why the orcs are morally correct to burn down all these villages. Here is reason A, reason B, reason C, reason D. And you can't go, well, hold on, that's not true because it is the outlook of life that the orcs have. This isn't simply a difference of the Nordics where they came from a different environmental system and they had to develop a culture that's different. But once they reach a temperate zone, they could change the way they are. No, no, no. Orcs are fundamentally predisposed to violence and warfare because that is how their god made them. You could have orcs go from being hinterland savages to more developed and possibly even diplomatic, but they would still be driven to engage in war, and they would, depending on the specific lore you use, driven to genocide, specifically of elves, because that is what their god has imbued them with. And they could provide a philosophical argument as to why that is a moral good and a moral necessity for the orcs, in the same vein as a lion could provide a moral argument as to why it has the fundamental right and has the moral good to slaughter and consume the gazelle. And then the gazelle, or in this little analog, the human, could sit down and go, "No, here's why. Here's why we have the morally superior high ground, X, Y, and Z, and why you are in fact evil." And they would have a point, because coming from their perspective, the gazelle and the human perspective, they are, they're not hurting anybody, they're just existing, they're just trying to collect vegetables and eat and live, and they're not hurting anybody, they're just existing. And from their perspectives, that would be a moral good, and thus the orcs for killing them is a moral evil. And you then come down to, okay, so you have two fundamentally different ideologies. One of two things is going to happen. One, Darwinism is going to select which one is correct. Or two, there is divine intervention, which will say which one is correct. And there is divine intervention on both sides. Okay. Well, we do know actually that there is divine intervention. It is a coalition of the good gods. And we know they're good gods because they say they're good gods. And that's why the alignment system has them as the good gods and their enemies as the evil gods. See what I mean? See the point I'm bringing up? In the end, the nature of good and evil within fantasy settings comes down to the will of the gods, for the gods wield absolute violent authority. Hmm. I feel like I should have also used a better example than orcs. Oh, here we go. Better example than orcs. Ideneth Deepkin. See, you can go, well, orcs, well, maybe if they're raised in a better culture, they could learn to not kill innocent people. Okay, that's an argument. Let me blow your perspective out. Let me just blow your argument completely out of the water. How the fuck do you rehabilitate the Ideneth Deepkin? I can tell Gunsmoke is like, what the fuck? That's a book. I don't read those things. What's going on? The Ideneth Deepkin are a faction from Age of Sigmar. They are cursed elves who, the vast majority of them are born without souls, meaning they die as effectively stillbirths. Unless a sentient being is harvested and the soul of that sentient being is plugged into the body, giving it life. So for the Ideneth, not just to live comfortably, not just to exist. They're not the fucking Druki who do this shit because it gives them a little tinkle in the winkle, or because it makes it because dwarves make better fortresses than elves. No. The reason the Ideneth take slaves and erase who you were, because they're not just killing you, they are taking your soul, resetting it to factory settings, and then sticking it in a new body to acquire new value from it, overriding who was originally there. They have to do that for the barest minimum of their survival, even accounting for their long-lived nature. Their natural births, their natural soul-born individuals, simply do not come at a sufficient number for maintaining a population. Hmm. Sorry, I've got a text. Um, and thus they must, from the Ideneth's perspective, if they do not raid and they do not steal souls and they do not erase the individuality and autonomy of the souls that they acquire, they are condemned to the extinction of their civilization, of their genetic lineage. Everything about the Ideneth will be forgotten beneath the waves, will be erased from existence. So for them, it is not just a moral good, it is a necessity for them to raid. But then you have the people on the other side, the other elves, the dwarves, all of these who look at that and go, "You're stealing souls and you're killing innocent people, but that's not okay." And then now you have the moral quandary of, does an Ideneth have the right to kill someone and steal their soul to continue the race? Now you have an interesting moral dilemma, because the Ideneth And no, this is not a case of, oh, well, you can rehabilitate the monster. No, you cannot rehabilitate the Idoneth because to rehabilitate the Idoneth condemns them to eradication, condemns them to extermination. Because unless you want to go, hey, just stay in wartime at all times, just continually wage war against what we deem as evil. So now, okay, so now it's okay to do what the Idoneth do to evil people. Okay, well, what if the Idoneth decide you're evil? Don't you see how fun this is? Don't you see how fun relativistic morality is? So we come back to the idea of the orcs. The orcs, the Idoneth, the Drow, like all the goblins, all of these evil races are fundamentally predisposed to evil because of a fundamentally different physiological or psychological or theological point that cannot simply be changed. You might be able to alter the course of individuals, which is open for good storytelling, like just Duarden, but you cannot fundamentally change their cultures. You cannot fundamentally have a entire race of good orcs. You cannot have a entire good city of Idoneth. You cannot have an army of good drow. You cannot have an entire setting of good goblins. They must inherently be evil for the rhetorical argument they serve being the absolute worst of the other. They are the ultimate thing that goes bump in the night, the ultimate threat. So now we come to the idea. Gnits make lice. The moral argument of, well, if you know that the goblin child, if you know that the baby orc, if you know that the pregnant drow will just create problems, is it not morally? Is it not the correct choice to deal with the problem early? To run it off at the hedge? Run it off the hedge? Bridge? I don't know. To basically hmm, kill what in any other circumstance would be an innocent life. Is that a moral good? Is that a moral evil? Because on one hand, it is a defenseless child. On the other hand, is killing a baby dragon, is that a moral evil? You know, a creature that will go out and burn down villages and slaughter innocent people is killing a demon that is freshly born and whelped. Is killing a baby orc that is just popped out of its little mud ball and ready to die for Sauron's name. Is that an evil to kill that thing? Oh well, you could rehabilitate it, you could raise it. Okay. So are you the player going to take the time to raise it, rehabilitate it, spend the money, spend the resources? Well, no. Okay, well then you have to kill it. Because if you yourself are not the one managing it, hold on. So what do I buy? Hookers. Blackjack and hookers, Gunsmoke. I would recommend alcohol, but you are not 21. Also, kill that baby dragon. Yes, kill the baby dragon. Slaughter the baby dragon. Brutalate the baby dragon. Use its bones to make steel. Use its meat for food. Use its hide for armor. There we go. Handbags. Yes. Yes, Gunsmoke. Yes. I like this Gunsmoke. Yes. Commit violence. Commit evil. Slaughter the dragons. Hurt the dragons. Kill the dragons. I'm a How to Train Your Dragon fan. What the fuck am I smoking? What? Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke. You know, go to the Atomic Wrangler. Pay for Fisto. Mm. Gunsmoke. Go to the Atomic Wrangler. Pay for Fisto. Mm. 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 Go. No hookers. I buy bullets. No hookers. Wait, hold on. No hookers. I buy bullet. Fuck, such a. I do not do. Okay, my on. Mm. Why Gunsmoke? Why the fuck didn't you say I look unpresentable? I look horrendous right now. I look bad. I look just horrible, Gunsmoke. I look horrible right now, all because of you. You did not inform me. You did not warn me about the current state of affairs, Gunsmoke. How dare you? How dare you, Gunsmoke? How dare you? Dick Gunsmoke. Angry Gunsmoke. I am doing a thing. That's the thing I wanted to do. There we go. Jump back here. Yeah, I'm just gonna because Gunsmoke did not inform me that I needed to shave. This is going up right here. Intermission, boys and girls. I'm gonna go shave, and I will be right back. Damn. Hmm. 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 Yeah, I mean, you're younger than me, so you probably have an even worse looking fit. That's mean. That's mean. I apologize, Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, you hold down the fort. You be a good Gunsmoke. All right, so I'm back. I did cut myself because I rushed. So I'm just gonna have to wait for the bleeding to stop. But then I will be turning the camera on. I would like to not be bleeding on camera. That would be annoying. That would be infuriating, indubitably. Indubitably. So, what was I? Oh yes. The the Gnits make lice. Hmm. I am going to beat the ever living. Oh no, I just cut myself with my razor. I told you I went to shave. I shaved Gunsmoke. I looked disheveled. I looked horrible. I shaved. I was rushing and I cut myself, and I'm bleeding. And I'm holding a paper towel to the blood to the bleed, so that it'll stop bleeding. In the hope that I will be presentable in a little bit to continue with my face cam on. But until the bleeding stops, Gunsmoke, because I look ridiculous right now holding a paper towel against my face, uh, you just get hawk talk. Damn it, Gunsmoke. I told you to hold down the fort, Gunsmoke. Mer Gunsmoke. Mer Gunsmoke. Hmm. Hmm. Damn it, Gunsmoke. Damn it, Gunsmoke. Why would you do this, Gunsmoke? Ah. Uh, Poor Gunsmoke. Listen, man, if other people in the chat were more active, I wouldn't be bullying you, but because you're the only person here, I need to pick on you. If you're lurking, the 18-year-old is going to the 18-year-old will continue to be bullied until morale improves. I am a shitty human being. I am not a good person. I apologize, Gunsmoke. Anyway, Gnits make lice. Gnits make lice. Yes. Yes, Gnits make. Gnits indubitably make lice. Because if you encounter a evil thing that you know will do an evil thing, whether it be an orc, a goblin, a dragon, a centaur, a dark elf, whatever, if you encounter one of these things, and you know for a damnable fact that this creature will do something bad, uh, then you have the moral, then you have the moral, what? Mm, mm, that's crazy. That's crazy, Gunsmoke. If you know that something, because its nature is inherently evil, being orcs, goblins, dark elves, dragons, etc., and no, this is not like what fucking racial supremacists would do to justify the bad treatment of Native Americans and blacks, because those are just humans. We as the players, we as the fourth dimensional Vostroyan roulette's chess strip poker players can look into the world and go, hey, those things worship an evil god, and said evil god predisposed them to genocidal conflict. Thus, we, as the omnipotent beings, know that they are inherently driven to evil violence. And thus, there is a moral good in the removal of them as a threat. In the same vein, that killing a man-eating tiger is a moral good. It is a moral necessity because the man-eating tiger will continue to eat people if you don't kill it. In the same vein, that if you do not kill the goblins, they will kill people. And if it's like Goblin Slayer, they will kill the men and the children, and they will goblinate the women. That is the only way I can describe what those filthy fucking bastards do without getting this channel taken down, because we all know how very just aggressively descriptive I can get. Well, some of us do. A few of us do. I'd say Gunsmoke does, but he clearly doesn't. My DM players, my D&D players. I am going to fucking shoot you, combat, lethally, violently, brutally. It is not the Hawk 2 stream. By the way, combat, if you want to hop on, if you do in fact want to hop on, I told Gunsmoke this at the beginning, but he is not interested. The panel, you just click that link and you can show up on panel, join the conversation. The conversation being Gnits make lice. Hold on, let me see. Am I actually able to turn my camera back on? Did the bleeding stop? Oh yeah, Wombat, you're gonna get a funny laugh out of this. I cut myself while shaving. I look disheveled. I was not informed that I looked disheveled. Yeah, I think I'm fine. I think I'm fine. Let's do that instead. Nope. That's what I want. Okay. Yeah, no, I look good. I look good. I'm perfect. I'm fine. I'm beautiful, baby. Yes, Gunsmoke, you dense motherfucker. At the pinned comment, Gunsmoke, as I said when you came in, is the StreamYards link. You click that, it creates a website. You don't need an account. You just hop in, you poop in. Just make sure your camera's not on if you don't want to show your face. Hmm. Though I do know you live out in the boonies, so your potato internet might get screwed. Combat, on the other hand, lives in Austin, so I know for a fact that his internet is good. Or was it Houston? One of those two. They're interchangeable. They're fundamentally interchangeable. They're both weird. They're both silly. They're both silly places. He is going to fucking shiv me. He's going to kill me, everyone. If I die within the next 24 hours, it was Combat Wombat because I said he lived in Austin. And he gets very mad at me over that for unknowable reasons. Didn't I promise that I would never say he's from Austin again? I may have broken a promise. I may be an oathbreaker. Shit. Anyway, so when you know that something is inherently evil by nature, and again, as stated previously, if it is something that is of a completely different physiological, psychological, theological, evolutionary starting point, oh,
So I reject the assessment that Austin is like Houston, because Houstonians avoid Austin like the plague.
the Estonians?
Yeah,
How you doing, man?
good. I'm here to bug you because you said for people on this panel of something that I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, I'm talking about D&D.
Oh, well, and I definitely don't need to be here.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about like the D&D races and all that because like some person, mostly reacting to Arch's video of like the whole like there was some like Twitter chain where a guy was going, D&D is inherently white supremacy, and Arch was like, no, 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 because these things are evil. They're fundamentally evil, so you have the more right to kill them.
Yeah, no, I actually read that statement, and I genuinely feel bad for anybody that wants to be involved in any sort of nerd hobby in the current climate, for lack of a better term, because the everything is political crowd. It has a tendency to make everything political.
Because I mean, Antonio Gramsci and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
But that
But
actually, oh, sorry.
no, I was gonna say, I feel like there's a push to return back to letting fantasy just be fantasy.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I could be wrong.
I would say you are to an extent. I would say you are to an extent right. I think it's more, it's more people are just getting tired of bad products because if the people making these things were actually competent and capable, like the Fallout show, for instance, people loved the Fallout show, even though it is basically the same drivel as Rings of Power, as the Star Wars sequel trilogy, but it's done more competently, so people like it. I feel like I've offended you. You made a face.
No, I agree. Sorry, I'm walking the dog, so it's like 110
Ah,
degrees outside right now.
oof. See, I'm back up in Oklahoma. It's like 2 degrees better than Texas.
Yeah, but we've got the humidity, so the heat index is like 150.
Yeah, well, think cold thoughts. Oh, and we got Gunsmoke. Welcome, Gunsmoke. I'm expecting his internet not to work. He lives in the fucking boonies. Like, let me put it this way: his computer works better when he's in a fucking feed silo than his house.
He's got to have a whole Faraday cage to capture the Wi-Fi signal.
No, he just hangs out next to the ducks and they work better. I'm bullying you, man. I
Hello.
apologize, Gunsmoke. But no, that actually reminded me. I don't know if it's actually part of the same thread or if it's a different thread. But did you see on Twitter like how people were saying that to play D&D is to inherently be predisposed to colonialism?
Yeah, but I mean, they say that about anything.
Well, actually, I agree with them on this, and it just makes D&D more based. How'd I semi-all the infamous? I mean, yeah, that's valid. I would say it's more of in the same way that Lord of the Rings opened up normies to fantasy, where like along with Big Bang Theory making nerd culture a lot more chill or more palatable. Game of Thrones, the popularity of Game of Thrones basically did the same thing, but it allowed more normal people to come in, meaning it was less about art and more about more about business. And when the businesses get involved, that's when the creativity dies. Why'd you put the fucking trash bag on camera?
It's the wind because my dog is going after a dove right now that I cannot tell is injured or not.
Wait, is this the husky?
Yeah, he's a jerk.
That explains it. That explains it.
Hold up, I need to
Um,
save.
Oh wait, is that Gunsmoke?
Yes.
Yo, here I'm gonna turn you up because you sound kind of quiet. All right,
I'm
Gunsmoke.
talking
Try.
very quietly.
You
Okay,
injured?
gotcha. How you doing, man?
Oh, okay.
I have German Bologna.
You are German Bologna. Wait, did you say you have? Wait, did you say you are German Bologna or you have German Bologna? Oh, well, he just left. I scared him off.
Oh,
That's an angry
bird
husky.
is injured. Wonder if I can snatch it.
But no. So back to the whole thing. So the argument is that under D&D, the primary thing that the primary thing that the D&D system is based around is you go to some kind of power, whether it be the king, the queen, a local merchant guild, whatever, and you receive a writ to enter into a space filled with local populations. Oh, that's an oof, man. That's an oof. To go into these local populations, to kill them, to take their stuff, and go back to like your fortresses, your cities and stuff. You have German Bologna. You have food. You have German Bologna food. Nice. Um, you take it back you take it back to your power, and then you use that to gain more legitimacy, more resources, so you can go and do the same thing again and again and again. And if you try to tell them, hey, maybe you shouldn't be evil, here's how to be good, you are culturally colonizing them. And see, I like this. I think it's kind of silly. What are your thoughts to that?
I mean, I'm okay with that. But then again, I'm also okay with there being elements of slavery and everything else in high fantasy. So there's that.
Yeah. See, I like it because it makes D&D, like, no matter what you do with D&D, it makes it inherently something that the progressives could not enjoy. Because no matter what they do within the context of D&D to make it fun within the way the rule set is, they will inherently be engaging in something they view as evil. And thus, they will be evil. So they should never engage with the hobby, meaning they will leave us alone.
Yeah, but I mean, they do that with everything. I was going to say, if you're coming this way, I'll put them over here.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was trying to let somebody go by, but...
You're good. You're walking your dog.
And the dog wants to go with them. Come on. No, you're
Be
not
glad
going
my
with them.
streams. Be glad my streams don't get any views. You like the current shot you gave us would be a meme template.
What can I say? I'm like dripping sweat in a tank top walking a ADHD dog that weighs about half as much as I do.
That is an oof.
Yeah.
That is absolutely an oof.
But yeah, no, I wish I could engage more with the D&D talk, but I'm not a D&D person.
Gotcha.
I'm just not.
Well, it can be Well, it's spawned by D&D, but you could apply it to all fantasy. Like, for instance, Warhammer Fantasy. Does the Empire not have the moral good to exterminate the Beastmen and the Orcs?
Yes.
But what if there's one Beastman that could be redeemed, or one Orc that could be made a friend of the Empire? Wouldn't that mean that you shouldn't you give them a chance?
If we're talking that one specific one, then yes, maybe.
Yeah, but what if all of them could be redeemed?
It's a pretty big hypothetical.
No, I'm playing devil's advocate.
I mean, if one of them could be redeemed, then I don't know. Save the smart one, kill the dumb ones.
Save the smart ones, kill the dumb ones. Darwinism.
There you go.
I like it. But unfortunately for the Orcs and the Goblins and the Beastmen, they are by nature inherently drawn to doing evil things. The Beastmen were corrupted by the gods of chaos, and thus they do chaotic and evil things. The Orcs were made by Gork and Mork, or Mork and Gork, or Gork and Morka, or something else. We don't really know. And they demand violence and bloodshed and warfare. And as I stated at the beginning of the stream, if you have something that is physiologically predisposed to engaging in violence, like a lion, and they do that against something like a gazelle, which would quantify any sort of violence or bloodshed as inherently the most evil thing you could do because it is an herbivore, then that thing will be evil, and the only moral recourse the gazelle would have is to exterminate the lions, or the gazelles would continue to be predated on. In the same vein, the Empire has the moral obligation to exterminate the orcs and the beastmen. Oh, Husky angry.
No, I follow. I mean, yeah. I think I know where you're going with this.
Wait, so what do you think about it?
No, that makes sense.
And I mean, to be fair, that's like That is basically the point that Arch made in his video, and I'm kind of just I'm just kind of repeating that point at that point. But it's these people will come into like the settings and expect the psychology of things like orcs and beastmen and dark elves and stuff to basically be equivalent to Vikings and Saxons. The Saxons turned the Danes and the Norwegians into basically Saxons light through Christianity. You can't do that with an orc. You can't make an orc never be violent because that's them by their nature. And
Well, again,
these people are
this goes back to the everything is political stance, where everything has to match something. It has to have like a real world equivalent,
yep,
even though there isn't one.
Gramsci, Antonio Gramsci.
Yep.
Yeah. That's more or less like that's basically I've walked like the line of thinking more or less through where it was. So do you got anything like you want to talk about?
No, I got nothing. I just wanted to come in and say hi.
And then I kicked you here, held you here against your will, coercively, violently.
No, you're good. I'm still walking the dog and melting at the same time. So, like I said,
that's a sad wombat. That's a sad combat wombat.
but anyway, I'm gonna let you continue to what's the
Gets a
word?
rant.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, have a good one, man.
See you, buddy.
See you.
How the hell do I get out of this?
There should be a leave studio. It's like a red circle with a white X. If you want me to, I can. Yeah, there you go. For those of you who do not know him, that was Combat Wombat. He's also known as Weezypillar. I will actually quickly be posting his YouTubes into the chat. His YouTube and his Twitter into the chat right now, and then if I remember to, I'll also be adding him to the description. So here is his YouTube channel. And then I would like the Combat Wombat, please. The best Combat Wombat you can provide. Yes, Combat Wombat. There we go. And then I would like to share the Combat Wombat. The Anti-Lib Wombat. The Angry Wombat. The Wombat. Angry Wombat. Oh, I can actually add it to the description right here. Combat Wombat, aka Weezypillar. For those of you who want to go check out his channel, he has got a lot more subs and followers than me. He is a much better content creator than me, but pretty base dude, pretty cool dude. He's got a husky, so he's pretty cool. Yeah, there you guys go. Yeah, I didn't really have much. The line of logic for this stream was talk about this shit, get some opinions, get like a general discussion going. Not and yeah, actually, hold on. I do have a Hail Mary. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. I'm very tempted to tweet out some like some Wokammer types and be like, "Hey, I'm doing a stream. Would you like to come on and debate me, bro, about elves?" Hmm. That feels very, very dangerous. That feels very dangerous. That feels yeah, no, that feels too dangerous. I would need to prepare for that. I would need to be ready for that. I would need to be lethal for that, scared for that, angry for that. Yes. Let me think. What else? What else could we talk about? What else could I talk about? I don't really have. I don't really. I can't. What else? What else? Ah, Andy Pickle. Welcome, 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 Andy. Andy, okay, here. I'm here. I'm gonna use Andy. Andy, hello, Andy. You beautiful bastard. You glorious bastard. Hi, welcome. I'm gonna use you. Okay, Andy. So the title: Why Orcs and Elves Are Not the Same. Gnits Make Lice. The general concept, heavily summarized. Different fantasy races, not really races, but we don't have a good term for it. Different fantasy races have inherently different starting points, physiologically, psychologically, theologically, that will result in different perspectives on the world. Something that is predisposed to warfare, genocide, and violence will think that the killing of a village of innocent people is a moral necessity and a moral good. Something that is predicated on not doing that will go, hold on, that's bad. Who has the moral high ground? When both have gods saying, yeah, that's good, keep doing it, chief, you don't really have like a good moral arbiter. There's no like middle ground, no impasse to be had. Texas, y'all. Um, so it comes down to a quandary of might makes right. And ultimately, if you know that the thing that says, hey, killing you is good, is going to keep coming at you and trying to kill you, you have the moral prerogative to eliminate that threat, including the elimination of their progeny and their population producers. What are your thoughts on that, Andy? I've asked POV values. POV values. Could you elaborate? Because I am being a bit parted right now, and I don't understand what you mean by POV values. Hmm. Combat. Combat. Yes, of course I'm based. I'm incredibly based, sir. I have. I have Andrew. That's not fucking Andrew Jackson. I have fucking Stonewall Jackson up on my bookshelf and a Reagan quote. Batman's code against killing. Now, okay, here's the thing, Andy. Batman's fundamental code is, first of all, that he, as the individual, has no moral right to kill. To kill. Like he is not the judge. He's merely stepping outside of the social contract enough to enforce the will of the social contract so that the people within it can pass judgment. Further, he doesn't kill humans. Like pretty much any Batman story will have him killing robots and aliens and mutant monsters and shit like that, but he doesn't kill humans because humans are capable of being redeemed. Same thing with Daredevil. My boy right here, the Punisher, believes that you cannot redeem things. So when you encounter something that cannot be redeemed, like a goblin, an orc, a dark elf, etc., do you not have the moral authority to kill them, or are you coming from the perspective of that the random individual does not have the authority to execute their preferred opinion of morality upon this individual? Hmm. Hmm. The Dark Knight series where Batman, I don't think, didn't he try not to though? I'm like 90% because like in the original in like the Nick with like the Nicholson Joker, he did use a machine gun on goons. He did like gun down several goons. It was like an American school. It was like the American school system, just automatic weapons fire. Not necessarily a real world discussion, more the app. Like if this was a real world discussion, that'd be a problem because we are talking about the application of supremacistic ideas and the application of extermination campaigns against monstrous things like elves, dwarves, or not dwarves, like dark elves, orcs, goblins, Ideneth, beastmen, those things. D&D shit. Like okay, if you come across a pregnant orc woman and you know that the child she gives birth to will 99.8% chance turn into a violent savage, and even if you try to redeem it, even if you try to raise it well, there is the likelihood that it will just start killing people. Do you have the moral prerogative to kill this pregnant orc? Oh yeah. Oh well, yeah, we could have that discussion. The death penalty is absolutely moral. Within the context, are we? Am I saying that if you take a loaf of bread, you deserve to die? No. Am I saying you are a triple homicide sociopath who screams about how you wish you could have killed more? It's a waste of taxpayers to let you live. Just fucking put the bullet in the back of the head. See, in my opinion, the death penalty is not the death penalty is not inherently immoral because for instance, if an officer encounters an active shooter with an automatic weapon, and said active shooter is actively spraying lead into a crowd of people, and he shoots them with his sidearm, and he kills them, that is the death penalty. That is the officer rendering a verdict through the application of the social contract, the call of duty, to put the threat down. Or if a soldier kills a terrorist, fundamentally, unless you believe that no human being has the right to take another human being's life, then you are inherently predisposed to the death penalty. We are just finagling on who gets to do the killing and when the killing is justified. You're talking about Demolition Man. Demolition Man was a very good film. I need to fucking rewatch that. Yeah, see, but the thing with that is they possess the technology to go into your brain and rewrite your brain. Now, also, we also see that their plan was flawed because Wesley Snipes, Phoenix, he comes out and is still violent and evil and aggressive. Babylon 5 actually presents this similar quandary where they can mind wipe an individual, like completely erase their like who they were. So if they were a violent criminal, that criminal is effectively killed, but the body is given new purpose. To embetter the world. Is it moral to delete to you are effectively instituting the death penalty, but allowing the flesh and potentially the soul, depending on your perspective, to redeem itself? Is that better than the death penalty? Because on one hand, it would not really feel much like a punishment to the parents who are standing there and watching as their son's murderer walks around. But on the other hand, from a practical level, you have killed the man. You are also just giving him the opportunity to be redeemed. Mm. See, Andy, I wish I could point to an example in Chicago right now that proves your point. I wish I could give an example of not spanking the damn puppies when they piss on the carpet would possibly create blowback that no one likes, that everyone hates. I can't think of an example. Can you think of an example, Andy? Can you think of an example in Chicago right now? I can't think of an example. I can't think of a convention. I can't think of a bunch of toothpaste flags being flown. I can't think of a single fluffing thing, Andy. Gosh, yeah. Seems like you scared. It seems like I scared everyone else off, Andy. It seems like it's just you and me. Hmm, just you and me, Andy. I don't know who's to be more concerned, you or me. Hmm. Is it you? Is it me? Now, is it you? Is it me? Actually, okay. This is actually a very good thing. The punishment has to deter those who would commit the crimes. The opening scene of House of the Dragon involves Daemon Targaryen going out and unleashing lethal force upon a bunch of violent criminals, a bunch of people who committed theft and murder and rape and all this bad stuff. And he basically just rounds them up, just here's the accusation, and inflicts justice upon them. That would deter crime. That absolutely deters crime, but it's also draconian and authoritarian. And what's more important? Is it the protection of the civil liberties of the individual, or is the hold on, fuck, I'm gonna edit the title. Um and moral relativism. Let's do that. Moral relativism. That feels like inappropriate. So this is actually a very good idea. What is more important? Safety and security and law and order, or the maintenance of civil liberties and the fundamental rights of the individual. Now, as I said previously, you could hop on panel if you would like to. The link is pinned, so if you'd like to actually be conversing with the discussion rather than relying on chat, go right ahead. I'd love to hear your perspectives. I'm going to wait for some comments to come in while I take a look at some kappas. Mhm. Kappa cholos. Wait, holy shit! The Shreks are big. Wait, the Shreks are people sized. What? Kappa Shreks are people sized. I'm being schizo. Kappa Shrek are people sized. Hmm. Ah, the gun smoke is bad. Gunsmoke. 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 What do you believe about the death penalty? What are your opinions on the death penalty, Gunsmoke? You, an 18-year-old, what is your formulated opinion on the death penalty, and why do you believe that yours is the most moral opinion on the death penalty? Go. No fucking, no fucking wonder my streams get no views. They are scuffed AF, and they are hosted by a schizo. Half schizo. Tenth of a schizo. Let's go with a tenth of a schizo. See, I'm at the point. I'm at the point where I'm at the point in the stream where I'm like, I need fan interaction. Or I need someone to bounce off. I'm not very good at like doing this myself. I'm so fucking sweaty. Hold on, if I turn, is this gonna make things better or worse? Oh, that's gonna make no, that's horrible. For the first time ever, I'm about to hear Andy Pickle speak.
Well, hi there, Shadow.
Holy fuck, you sound like Caucasian Sasquatch.
Well, we're about the same age and we come from about the same latitude.
Checks out. So you are of Virginian genetics, then? Texan?
No, I'm from Texas, yeah.
I mean,
So
potentially Virginian, as the South was colonized predominantly by Virginians, and then a lot of Confederates fled to Texas after losing the kerfuffle. So you could be a bit Virginian.
that just reminds me of, I think it was Robin Williams that was talking about the whole Islam thing of, you know, you do your thing and you go to heaven and you get your 72 virgins or whatever. And Robin Williams said, you know, no, you got it wrong. It was 72 Virginians, you assholes. And it was like a whole bunch of revolutionary types. Yeah. But no, there was a lot of typing going on. As far as I was starting into a thought process that I've talked about before, which is right now our legal system is dominated by chicanery. You know, it's like if you can afford a team of lawyers. Are you there?
Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm just giving you center stage.
Okay.
So you are getting the monologue.
Yay. So I'll try to make it quick, but if we could go through, so let me ask you a question. Why is truth serum or lie detectors, why are they inadmissible in court?
Because lie detectors, if I remember correctly, we've recently discovered are ineffective, and then a truth serum, if we could actually produce one, strips an individual of autonomy in the same effect as beating them would.
Okay.
Because they are not willingly giving up the information.
Right. And those are actually the two different arguments I'm faced with. If it's inconclusive, if it can be beaten, then we should develop a better one. And what it leads me to is the ultimate, which we're not there yet, but maybe we're close, is like a cyberpunk thing where you just jack into the person's skull and, the night's events, whatever they're being accused of, play on a screen. At this point, and the other argument that you gave is also about, you talk about autonomy. It's the Fifth Amendment. Okay, we are given the right not to incriminate ourselves. So essentially, doing that or truth serum or lie detector is incriminating ourselves, which I think is stupid. I think it's a misuse of the law. What we have right now is where the courts make a huge amount of money. It basically supports the lawyers, the courts, the judges, everybody involved with this business of incarcerating people, when they would all become just paper pushers if you could just go in and tell the truth.
Oh.
You wouldn't have these long drawn out court cases. Did you do it? No, I didn't do it. He's lying. Okay, lock him up. So that's what I think is really what we need to get to. As far as like whether they should have the death penalty, again, if you don't fear what's going to happen to you, the repercussions, you're just going to go out and do it wholesale.
Absolutely. And before we continue, I would just like to say something very important.
Impressive. Very nice.
But yeah, no, absolutely. Yes, this is Andy Pickle, Clue.
Hey, Clue.
Yeah. Salute to Clue. We love Clue. Clue's amazing. He's a trucker. He keeps this country alive. But yeah, no, absolutely. And this kind of goes back to what I was saying about death penalty. Of most people are in favor of death penalty. We just quibble about when it's available and why it's available. Because for most people, myself included, you would only want the death penalty for oh, howdy carry, howdy mandatory carry. Welcome, welcome, welcome. That's another great person I like having on panel. That is another amazing person I like having on panel. A little bit mad dog, but love Carrie. He's great.
I would hate to assume Carrie's stance on the death penalty, but I think I'd already know.
Actually, I legitimately don't know, because on one hand, I could see, I'm running through the arguments in my head. I would feel like are most Carrie-like. And on one hand, I could see him arguing for it, and on the other hand, I could see him arguing against it. And I'm just like those two fucking dogs are like barking at each other in my head right now. Just one of them trying to force the other out of the naughty corner.
What do you think of the process that we use right now in prisons as far as the death penalty?
Oh, I think that the entire prison system in general is completely like flawed and messed up. And it's completely bloated, underfunded. It's both bloated, underfunded, it's it's unprofessional, and frankly, the whole damn thing just needs to be like gutted and completely restructured. Like the it has become a self-serving bureaucracy rather than a tool for the protection of the American people, just like the vast majority of the American government has become. But if we could remove the fundamental flaws of, like, I mean, there needs to be a criminal justice system. Like, we can't just let mob rule do shit, because that's how people just get lynched. And reasonably, an actual correctional facility would correct the individual that is being incarcerated there. They wouldn't just leave him in a yard and make him take like a shop class, or like make him cook. They would actually try to influence their morality, which you can't really do with an adult. You would need to do with teenagers. So effectively speaking, like there are a lot of nuances to it, and at a certain point, I get to the thought of kind of what Kamala Harris did. I mean, he is a good old Southern boy from Pennsylvania, so obviously Gunsmoke would believe in lynchings. Andy, I know if you're looking at a map of the U.S. I know if you're looking at a map of the U.S., the math ain't mathin'. Just go with it.
Do you know the name Sheriff Arpaio?
Sheriff Arpaio. I am not familiar.
So he was actually arrested and then pardoned by Trump. One of the few pardons that Trump handed out. And of course, there was a whole lot of nastiness about it. But basically, I believe it's New Mexico prison warden who, I mean, inmates that went to his prison did not want to go back.
Yeah.
And I mean, he gets a lot of applause for what he did, and it's not what you think. It wasn't a dungeon. I mean, like, he put them in pink jumpsuits, for one thing. But he also had like outdoor, it wasn't like being in the hole, but it was like, putting him in a tent. You're in the desert. Where are you going to go? And I mean, there were punishments involved in the prison if you acted up, and they had a very well-mannered prison.
Yeah. Because fundamentally, the majority of criminals in the United States they're not predestined to be coyotes and wolves and tigers and shit. They're people. Most of them are honestly not even people. They're boys. They're undisciplined, immature children that needed a spanking. Like, there's a specific passage in this book that I'm not going to bother trying to find that talks about what happens when you don't spank a puppy for pissing on the carpet. Oh, Holes. Holes is a very good example of what should be done, in my opinion, for you. But if you don't spank the puppy won't learn to not piss on the carpet. So,
I mean, children I equate to puppies. 2 pets.
Oh no, Pickle, we got a newcomer.
Hey, Clue.
What's up? I don't have my text set up. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound great, man. Yeah, welcome, Clue. Welcome.
You're live streaming now? Jeez.
So before I went home for the summer, I would live stream randomly, and then I was working 70 hours a fucking week.
Why are you working like a slave, bro?
Bad decisions from 17-year-olds should do, and yeah, just little younger Shadow being a dumbass, basically, is the reason, and me having to play catch up. Moral of the story: don't trust a 17-year-old not to fuck the goat. It will go badly. Not literally, metaphorically, obviously.
It's a terrible analogy, but I get what you were saying.
Yeah. Ignore the fact that I'm not allowed within 200 feet of the Wilstonshire family farm in Wisconsin. Ignore that.
Wow. Mr. Pickle, what's up, bro?
Oh, you know, same old. It's hot here.
So who can we piss off today? Who can Shadow piss off today?
A lot of people on Twitter, actually.
You still, man, Elon gonna ban you for life if you keep fucking around with Twitter.
This one wasn't even that bad. This one wasn't even that bad. It was me pissing off a bunch of losers and nerds.
I mean, that's all of Twitter, almost.
That's low hanging fruit, though. It's easy to piss off a nerd.
For me, this was a milquetoast take. What I did was, in response to someone going, "Hey, why does it matter if someone wants to call for changes to Warhammer 40k's lore?" I went, "That makes you a tourist because you don't actually care about the setting that you're interacting with. You want it to change to be something you want, not what it is. Go find something else." And so many people got pissy at me because they're like, "Oh, well, you're clearly not a Warhammer fan because you don't know about kit bashing." That's not what we're fucking talking about, you dumbasses.
You gotta give it more nuance. You gotta give it more nuance.
I'm not doing that like 200 characters. Fuck that. But no, as of last count, I think it was up to like 700 likes. And for context, my current account only has like 130 followers. It got holy fucking shit. 1.2K.
Oh, you're big now, huh?
That is 12 times my follower count. And at least one of those, and at least 1/30th of that follower count is on this panel right now.
Well, I mean, like everybody has their nerddom, you know. You look at Superman. I mean, Cavill's really big on the Warhammer thing, and I think he's a purist. I think he follows the lore.
Yeah.
And you know, people that really he is a nerd. He's a jack nerd.
Yeah, no, that's the point. He is your average guy who was playing Yu-Gi-Oh and like doing all the nerd shit. Like the two guys from My Babysitter's a Vampire. He was them. But he got the genetic lottery, so he fucking looks like Clint Eastwood, to pull out a famous actor.
But you know, there are so many different genres as far as gaming goes, and just all of nerddom. Whether you're watching shows or you're playing games, that if you want something different, go find something different or make your own. All of these game systems started out with some nerd going, "Hey, you know what? I can make my own game system."
Well, see, the problem with that, Andy, is going, some spaces are for or some spaces are for these people, some spaces are for these people. Like going, My Little Pony is made for prepubescent, little bit post-puberty girls. Star Wars: The Clone Wars is for 13-year-old boys and autistic 30-year-olds. John Wick is for grown men.
Damn.
Barbie is for...
You say autistic 30-year-olds?
Yeah, he's just being hard. He's still got that Twitter, vibe going.
We just need to go back.
Shadow. You don't have to like zing us and everything like that.
We just need to go back to Super Nintendo. Super Nintendo was the height of video game civilization. It was cartridge. It wasn't connected to the internet. And it allowed you to bring your friends over to your house and play with you. That's the height of civilization. It went downhill from Super Nintendo. SNES was the best it ever got.
I would say the DS also was pretty damn good.
But I'll tell you something. I played Warcraft, okay, and that's not a admission of guilt, but you meet so many people, and yeah, some of them are crap, but you actually meet some people that stay friends.
Yeah. Because Warcraft was funnily enough, World of Warcraft was a world with its own inflation problems and pandemics and complicated fucking politics. It's like EVE Online.
Yeah, I mean, like they had several different, MMOs, but we used to see. I started playing D&D way back. My cousin mustered out of the army, and he came to this area, and I was 8 years old, and I was like the oldest person in my crew. So he ran a game for like 5-year-old to 8-year-olds, and a D&D game where your first encounter were skeletons, and introduced us to that. So I come from way back, and we have always wanted. I mean, like we were playing around in my teen years. I was playing around with IBM PC Junior, all right, old TI 99s. We're programming in DOS, and from that time where we got introduced to computers, we wanted a computer game where you didn't need a DM. You could just call up your friends, say, "Hey, you want to play a game?" and you got to play your characters.
And I mean, one of the few good things that we're getting from AI is the fact that you will be getting a game like that within the next 5 to 10 years. Hopefully with less gay shit than Baldur's Gate 3.
Hopefully no gay shit.
A little gay shit. Lesbians are hot.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you got me there. You got me.
Look, I have a fundamental argument as to why straight men can like lesbians and straight women can like gay dudes. Like watching them.
Okay, I want to hear this. I don't know if I'll throw up or not, but I want to hear it.
Do you like Hershey chocolate bars? Like just
the chocolate or
if you were given a Hershey chocolate bar, would you be happy just being given a Hershey chocolate bar?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you have 2 Hershey chocolate bars and you're handed 2 Hershey chocolate bars, wouldn't that make you twice as happy?
Yeah.
So if you have 2 super hot people you're attracted to in front of you, would that not make you happy?
I get what you're saying. Yeah. 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 That's a good one. Yeah. That explains it.
Yeah. So
because when you watch
it's
straight
not gay to watch gay porn.
When you watch straight porn, you're only attracted to one of the people in the video.
Right.
You're tolerating the other.
Exactly.
That's a good point. It might get us banned, but it's a good point. If your hottest and your second hot, your hottest girl and your second hottest girl were fucking each other, what could go? What I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Your number one and your number two going at it with each other. There it is.
So, Clue, are you admitting to liking Futanari?
What's that?
Oh, my sweet silver
Don't
child.
pretend you don't know.
What's that?
Okay, Shadow, you know what?
I am sadly aware of what it is. The Mass Effect fandom has an unhealthy obsession with it for some reason. I blame the Asari. Clue, would you like to remain upon the Isle of Bliss, or would you like to swim out into the sea of knowledge?
Bliss. Let's go with Bliss.
Okay, we will not inform you what Futanari is.
Let me just say without ruining it that there are no actual women with male parts. There are only dudes with breasts. Okay, and I'm trying to put that as nicely as
not that much better. Okay.
So no, there's all kinds of weirdness. You get into the bronies and the furries and everyone have your kinks, but when you talk about the games and having a little bit less gay in Baldur's Gate, you choose what your hair color is. Okay, you choose who your fantasy dream character is. So if somebody chooses to have whatever, then hey, by all means.
Right. It's all about personal preference and personal choice. This thing is for these people, that thing is for that people, because different people have different preferences. But Andy, what if I were to tell you that that's actually an evil idea and everything should be for everyone, and thus if something has things that people don't like, then those must be stripped? What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's a bit limited.
Well, you, sir, are opposed to the liberal ideal. You are a horrible Marxist, and you have failed Antonio Gramsci.
I'm a horrible
All right.
Marxist too. I suck at Marxism. I can't
I
get it right.
I have nothing in common with the far left liberal today.
Yeah. See, I am actually, funnily enough, I would argue a 1/15th Marxist because I agree with one point he made. Only one.
What's that?
Industrialization is one of the worst things to happen to human culture. Not
Ooh.
civilization, human culture.
That's a tough one.
I think it's a symptom. I don't think industrialization itself. Industrialization has in part led to our consumerism, where we're impulse buying. But I'll tell you, the big problem that I have is the globalization. Okay, it's not the industrialization, but it's the
Me too.
Have you heard that over 100 million Russians were killed under Stalin?
I thought the number was a little bit higher, but yeah, I knew about that.
Or no, I'm sorry. It's
110 million.
20,
yeah.
No, it's over 20 million by Stalin to 100 million by Mao. Okay.
Yeah, so, Mao's number one. Mao's number one.
Right. So how did that happen?
Body counts higher.
How did that happen?
Starvation.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the industrialization was forced. This was not where, in the contemporary age of the steam engine and all that, where things were just organically happening, being discovered and utilized. This was where Russia and China both wanted to be on the global market. So they had to create an industry. That industry required workers. The majority of their people were out in the countryside farming. They forced relocated people to the cities to work the factories, to put them on a global market, to make them a world power.
Yeah. Mao absolutely. Stalin, it gets a little bit more iffy. A lot of it, from what I've seen, was more intentional. He was intentionally killing people using incompetence as a cover-up, but Mao absolutely was just fucking retarded. But that's actually not what I'm talking about. That's not the point Marx raised about industrialization destroying human culture. The general idea that he presented was that industrialization strips like a local culture of what makes it that culture, and instead makes you merely a part of the industrial machine. So, for instance, under industrialization, so before industrialization, you've got that is clearly an Anglo-Saxon, that is clearly a German, that is clearly a French, that is clearly a Spaniard, based off their clothing, based off the way they speak, their accent, where they are in the world. But under industrialization, because industrialization inherently requires globalization in order to feed the fires of industry, those people are going to interact with each other. And under industrialization, their uniqueness, their cultural uniqueness will be sacrificed for the efficiency of the grand machine. They will be forced to alter their speech to fit the factory setting. Their clothing, if it's not as efficiently produced as a textile, will eventually be replaced. They may be forced to move from their homeland. So eventually, what you will find is you will no longer be able to tell the difference between an Anglo-Saxon, a German, a Frenchman, or a Spaniard. And then you apply that to the world stage, where all culture eventually becomes an amorphous blob. I don't know who this is. Is this Gunsmoke?
It is Gunsmoke.
Okay. Just making sure it's Gunsmoke. Howdy, man. And so eventually, under communism, or not communism, sorry, under industrialization, eventually you will have two classes. You will have the bourgeoisie, who are hasteless, uber wealthy people who have like no cares in the world, and then a interchangeable gray mass that is the proletariat, where basically the only real difference between them is some of them have to have children, some of them have to be less effective for certain months to produce children. That will be the fundamental difference. And then he springboards that with, this is why we need communism, because we need to kill the bourgeoisie, and it doesn't really matter that we won't have families or personal property rights, because we don't have those anyway, because of industrialization. So I don't agree with the kill the rich people part, but I do agree with the industrialization saps the uniqueness of culture and turns us into a gray mass. What do you guys think?
Yeah, but we need hierarchy.
Right.
Hierarchy is how we built this country. We need hierarchy to a certain extent.
I'm specifically talking about the erasure of culture, the erasure of like the identity, not necessarily
Right.
Because
Okay.
Anyone who believes that stratification is inherently evil is just retarded. So sorry to cut you off, Clue.
Good. I don't like the
Yeah,
British.
you're right.
They should be erased.
I don't fear the loss of culture. And I mean, I'm speaking as a proud Texan, remember the Alamo and all this kind of stuff. But I feel like our differences, and that may just be the times that we're in, but there's so many people for their own gains who are dividing us. And I don't glorify that division. I don't want us to be separated by skin color or religion or anything.
I agree with that because I don't even believe in race or gender, nationality and sex. Race and gender are fake. Nationality and sex are real.
Yeah. See, Andy, I'm in agreement that I would prefer everyone to work together as best they can. Like the people who know best how to build houses, they build houses. The people who know best how to grow food, they grow food. Basically what Genghis Khan did with the different ethnic groups, where it's like, okay, we Mongols are best at killing, so we'll be the soldiers. You Uyghurs, you're very good at administration. You do administration. You Chinese people, you do really good things with gunpowder. You do gunpowder things. And then
But
they
you
all
have
work.
to separate. You have to separate because there are so many mental jobs that the only reason that, people will tell me all the time, I'm just not good at math. I've never been good at math. The only reason that someone's not good at something is because they don't like it. If you don't like something, you're not going to do it. You're going to seek to avoid doing it. And the only way you get good at something is by doing it.
Yeah. And certain population groups are going to be predisposed to doing those things better. A group that have lived as a farming community are going to be better at farming than a group who have lived as a steel mill community.
Can I interject something?
Yeah.
Go right ahead, Gunsmoke.
Do you know what's funny? The Chinese invented gunpowder and then did nothing with it.
Yes.
They
made
did
sparklers.
nothing with it.
They made sparklers.
Yes. And you can
They
blame
made sparklers, and then they had to send it east to the Muslims and the Christians to actually make something with it.
Well, but particularly the Japanese shogun, they were with they almost made a religion out of their warfare and their class system. And they fought against gunpowder being used in war for so long.
Because that's the funny thing. It takes 5 years to train a longbowman or just a bowman or a samurai, but it takes 3 weeks to train a peasant to hold a matchlock.
That is why egalitarianism is inherently reliant on the availability of martial weaponry for the average person. If you live in a world where the ability to execute lethality is restrictive to those who have time and wealth, then you will see an autocratic society. If you see the ability for any man to pick up the most common weapon and use it with the same lethality as someone who has wealth and time, then you will see an egalitarian society because the needs of the masses will be considered.
But we've lost one thing. We've lost one thing that's important, Shadow, and that's the rules of engagement.
Clarify, please.
Well, I mean, when you had the noble war, you had knights who were respected, or you had shogun, you had samurai who were respected. When you hide behind trees, as the revolutionaries did, or I'd say more in the 1812, your commoners are picking off officers, and that's a utilitarian thing. They did it because they had to, and it worked. It worked, with the Indians. They had to learn that style of fighting. But we now have people walking into a building and blowing themselves up.
Yeah.
We've lost the rules of engagement.
Yeah, the methods of violence have shifted. We now require more advanced forms of violent response, which the drones, the shifting of drones actually. Oh, where did I put it? Hold on, it's somewhere. Here we go. I read this book a couple of years ago, and I was talking about how drones are going to alter the state of warfare. Guess what's currently happening in the world? Nope, not everyone speak at once, please.
You mean
you
talk about the kiosk at grocery stores, drones? What do you mean?
Like, have you not been paying attention to like the war in Ukraine or like Iran's massive attack on Israel?
Sort of.
So drones, which are basically which effectively can be used as autonomous munitions, like a missile that will identify a target and a target without human intervention or risking the human pilot or risking a human life, have been seeing massive utilization by modern militaries, to the point where the United States is retrofitting its super carriers to carry drone swarms.
They're not autonomous, though.
So you can be in your mama's basement and control the drone to take out like 1,000 people in a foreign nation, basically.
And Andy is correct. Let me adjust my terminology. Semi-autonomous, specifically as described in this book. The Azerbaijani were utilizing a style of drone tactic where they would have UAVs mark targets when they were engaging the Armenians. And then a human operator would confirm, hey, yeah, hit that target, at which point a self-loitering munition, which was comparable to a drone, would strike the target, eliminate the target. So you are slowly seeing a shift of, hey, like a rifleman is no longer as effective in warfare because you've got guys transporting explosive packages that do massive damage and do massive morale damage. Keeping boots on the ground isn't effective. Okay, so we need to remove the boots, but we still need a deployment mechanism that we can utilize to identify the target, confirm the target, and then take out the target. Which is why we are shifting to drones. Drones require very specific specialties to produce the ones that are military capable, as well as sufficient industrial capability to manufacture them. Meaning you are seeing lethality shift back to the hands of a small elite.
Well, why not just put on like VR glasses and control the drones remotely? Be like to pilot the drones remotely with VR and shoot the enemy that way.
Well, so they're not. We don't have like. What I'm talking about isn't like a weapon strapped to the drone. The drone itself is the weapon.
Oh, you mean targeted missiles?
It's basically a smarter missile, effectively.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
They sound like, I can't remember the exact numbers, but they talk about the cost of these certain missiles being like in the $100,000 range, and a drone being in the $20,000 range. So they found that it's more cost effective to crash a drone loaded with a payload into a target rather than shooting off an expensive missile.
It's even crazier. Some of the missiles are actually in their millions.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, did you see they had a parade in Afghanistan showing off all their hardware?
Yeah, all that hardware that Brandon just gave them.
Mm-hmm.
Some of that same hardware that was identified being utilized by a certain food item, a condiment, hummus. Hummus was utilizing it. Some of that hardware.
Is Brandon still alive? Because I haven't heard from Brandon. I haven't seen him in a while.
I don't know. I don't care.
They're doing crazy AI stuff. I mean, have you seen the
Kamala might be president right now. We don't even know it because Brandon is no longer here.
Have you seen Kamala and Trump video?
No, I haven't. What is it?
Oh, you got to look it up. There's several, and I'm not sure who's doing it. I think Elon said that it was just individuals making different videos, but they've put at least 3 or 4 of these together where it's Trump with Kamala, like like they have a kid together.
Oh, gross. I don't want to see that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That would be a plot twist. That would be a George R.R. Martin level plot twist, and that would be hilarious.
Where did I put the bleach? I must cleanse my eyeballs.
You've traumatized the 18-year-old.
But that's the thing is AI. We can recognize AI, I think, pretty much 100% of the time. I mean, you have to dig into the video, but it's getting harder to do.
Now here's the really scary thing. What happens when you get to the point where it's cheaper to, instead of having 10 drone operators, you have 10 human operators, you have 1 AI operator.
Goodbye, planet Earth.
How you know we're not already there, Shadu?
Because there were reports coming out of tests involving, I think it was like an Air Force officer. They were testing a drone, and the drone was like, "Hey, I see something moving. I want to shoot it." And it was like, "No, those are civilians. No." And then the drone requested permission to target its operator because the operator was impeding its ability to eliminate the target.
I am mentally stable. I can be trusted with civilian targets. Oh, look, a school bus.
I'm afraid I can't do that, Dave.
Stand down! Stand down! Stand down! No.
Look, we're
But
playing
that's
on
rising
Democrat mode. It's
machine.
fine.
I mean, we've feared AI for that reason.
Yes.
AI.
And
Just
actually,
remember, you can take your computer apart and wash the motherboard, and it can't hurt you no more.
magnets work too.
Unless the binary organism finds itself flitting between satellite signals. At which point, how do we kill it then?
But what do you think about the brain cells?
What was that?
The brain cells that they've turned into a computer?
I believe that transhumanism is one of the ultimate evils we can do to ourselves as a species, because we would be actively exterminating our own existence. Also, we would not be getting a glorious new form of human. We'd be getting, based on how Americans reacted to fast food and sugar and sex on demand, we would not be getting glorious transhumans that guide us into the stars. We'd be getting a bunch of fat lards sitting in a corner gooning.
Hey, boss, what's the plan?
Like Wally.
What the heck? I thought they hired goons.
So this leads to a different question. You talk about like the political system that we have, whether it's communism, socialism, capitalism, democracy. There will be no fairness as long as a human is in charge.
Oh, absolutely.
I agree with that.
And to be fair, who really wants equality? Like, equality, under the law, equality good. In regards to social structure and expectation of existence, equality bad. Stratification amazing.
But I read an article where they took every corporation it's reported wealth and payments and all this, and they did an averaging between that corporation itself. It was a ratio of the CEO's income versus their average employee just within that one corporation, and then they compared the averages country by country. And at the lowest ratio were countries like China, 15-1. Their CEO made 15 times what their average employee made. The United States was at the highest ratio of 750 times what their average employee made. So when you talk about the difference between communism and capitalism, We're not perfect.
No. But under capitalism, you have autonomy. Under communism, you do what the state says or you get the gun to the back of the head.
You have limited autonomy.
But capitalism,
I mean,
you got a chance. The guy at the bottom has a chance to be at the top. He has a chance. He's not going to always make it, but he has a shot. And under communism, you're at the bottom for life because maybe your last name, maybe who your father was, whatever reason, you stay at the bottom until you're dead. Under
But the reason for that is not because of the type of system that you're under. The reason for that is the people that are in control of said system. The idea that was sold to the Russian people to overthrow their royalty in 1917 was the people will own the means of production. They were lied to.
Yeah.
All right? The government owns the means of production. The government makes all the decisions for them. That was not what they were sold.
So to be
But
fair,
in the
Marxism.
United States, we were lied to too. And you talk about the American dream, and I'm not saying that you cannot attain, you can't transition to a higher strata.
It's just
But
really hard nowadays.
Oh
The
yeah.
American dream is dead.
What's that?
Well,
The American dream is dead.
That's where you're
We
wrong.
had
Bucko.
24-hour Walmarts and dollar menus at McDonald's. What do we have now?
3 gators and moonshine in the fridge.
yeah,
We're living
he
a
is
better
right.
life than-
But the cost of things is all amorphous. Okay, it's like you get paid more, you pay more, and no, it's not immediate. You don't get an immediate raise, but in order for the system to stay at a stable level, things have to adjust. It's like if people can't afford houses, things will change to where they can afford houses. It's not going to be overnight. It's going to be generational.
The American dream hinged on the family, and they don't want nuclear families anymore. That was the bedrock of the American dream: a mother, a father, and children, and a pet. That was the American dream, and a house. The average man can achieve all of this. That was the American dream. But they don't want families anymore. They want you to either living alone or in some kind of gay relationship. That's what they want now.
Yeah,
But
because
we
a
Single
family is-
mom families. That's what they want.
because a family, like a religion or a hobby, is a support network. It is a place that you can go to if you're in a struggling situation, as opposed to the government. That's why the Communist Party of China went so hard against religion, went so hard against the culture, broke up families as much as they did, because they did not want you to go to your uncle or your cousin or your fucking Halo
Go
2
to
buddy
them.
for help.
Uh,
They wanted you to go to them.
Go to them. They
That's
are
the-
God. They are God. You don't have a God. They are God. They are your religion. You pray to them. That's what they want here too. You pray to them. You don't pray to either God or Allah or whomever is your God. You don't pray to them. You pray to the government, and the government will provide. That's their whole business model.
Psychor's
But, I mean,
mother,
it's-
Psychor's father.
It's misleading because they're not literally asking you to pray to them. And I understand what you're saying, Clue, but
Oh yes,
They're
they are,
actually-
Mr. Pickle.
they're atheistic. They're not looking to turn themselves into religion because I'm
They're
telling you,
atheistic, but they want you to kneel before them, and
Yes,
they
but
want
that's-
you to need them.
that's in servility. That's not in worship, okay? They don't want you to have any beliefs.
They want you to.
They want you to believe in them.
They want you to supplicate and give over your autonomy to them. They
Correct
want
them.
they if you can remove the spiritual aspect of praising a deity, that is effectively what a governing structure under a autocratic system wants. They want to be what you focus your life around. They want you to praise them for everything. Yeah, Gunsmoke?
They want us to be like sheep in a pasture, totally dependent on them without any autonomy of our own.
Yeah.
And that's I don't need to put why being like sheep in a pasture with no autonomy is bad.
Don't mention sheep around Shadow.
I'm not allowed.
You bloody Welshman! What did you do to the sheep?
Look, you were there. That family farm in Pennsylvania. I'm not allowed near 200 feet of it. You were there. You know what happened to that ewe?
You can't see it, but I'm shaking my head mighty forcefully.
I think Shadow just spray painted his school colors on it or something.
He shagged the sheep.
And with me being super glad Kohai does not watch my channel, we have hit about the 2-hour mark. I feel like that is appropriate. I need to be up for a 6 a.m. run with my roommate, so we're gonna go around the horn, plug what everyone's got.
Lol, what a
starting
nerd!
with-
He actually exercises. Boo
Yeah,
him.
I ran 5 miles this morning. It sucked. And because he was deciding to be a little belligerent little bastard, Gunsmoke, you got any projects you want to talk about? Anything coming up?
I have Gunsmoke, the game. It will be released in the year 3557 because I am lazy. That's it. Goodbye.
That is a thing. That was Gunsmoke Malone. You can check him out on Twitter. At Gunsmoke Lindsay, I think. Here, actually, I will add him to the. I'll add all of you guys to the description. Next up, I feel like we should go counterclockwise. Clue channel. Got anything coming up?
What's up, everybody? I don't have anything coming up. I'm just supporting all my friends. Y'all know Samuel, the infamous, on Saturdays, Screaming Into the Void. Show up for that because you never know what's going to happen. Shadu will probably be there too. You can find me also on X, Twix, at Clue Channel. That's when I say my most offensive stuff because Elon lets me say it. Yes, yes. So, yeah, that's it.
All right, I'm putting your information in the chat in the description right now, and then
Appreciate
Victor
that.
Andy Pickle, you got anything you want to shill?
Oh no, I'm just LIVIN.
Gotcha. All right, and I'm the Shadow of the Hawk. If you guys come back here Wednesday at 8:30 p.m., you will be here for episode. Is it 9 or 10? 9. Episode 9 of Sword Coast and Sorcery. We are down a player. Life got in the way. But we will be entering into Water Echo Cave, chasing down the spider. Why am I saying we? The party will be doing that.
I still
You
haven't.
can
I
find
can't
me-
believe you haven't killed that whole party yet.
I am too. That bugbear, if it had rolled a little bit better, there would have been some cats. There would have been some mass cats. I'm on
Shadu, are
random
you
channels.
still writing? You still writing?
Yes, I am actually, and with a little bit more. Oh shit! Okay, I'm gonna have to copy paste this later. Actually, I'm writing. I'm currently working on my novel with a certain level of autistic detail. But I will be getting back to stuff from my coffee page at some point, which you can check out over on my Twitter, where you can find me saying things that piss people off. Evidently, some people like me. I've got a post that's at 1.2K.
Well, if you keep saying things that piss people off on Twitter, Elon's going to kick your ass out. I'm just saying.
He's already kicked me twice. I don't care. And then
You're
also,
too much for even
having
Elon.
having a little bit more free time, we'll be posting more content to my YouTube channel. Random little 10-minute videos talking about random nerd shit. One of them being why this right here, the Saxon Tales, got a good TV adaptation, and why The Witcher got a shit TV adaptation, despite this arguably, at least in the first season, being more faithful than this. So stay tuned for that, boys and girls.
Shadow, just one plug. I cannot just say this enough. You need to pick up The Black Company.
Yep. I am most of the way through the Saxon Tales. Once I'm through that, I'll probably pick up Black Company.
Glenn Cook, and he writes other series that are widely different, but The Black Company is military, it's fantasy. I think you would enjoy it. It's what they call a grimdark.
Yeah.
He does not mind killing off characters.
something tells me I'm a bit of a fan of Grimdark.
There you go.
Thank you, Andy Pickle. Thank you to the panel, every member who was on tonight. Thank you very much for being here. To the chat, even though most of the chat was on panel at one point or the other, thank you for being here. Y'all are amazing. Y'all are spectacular. I have been the Shadow of the Hawk. Hawk Talk will be coming back sometime soon. Later, y'all. I really need an outro.
Have fun, y'all.